Hey, everybody. Welcome to Muni Misfits. My name is Chris Larson, head golf professional at Osgood. Sitting alongside me, I've got the other two Misfits. I've got Matt Cook and Greg McCullough. Collectively, we're here for the Muni Misfits. What episode is this, Tori?
36.
We should be taking
even
bets,
par.
right?
Now we are
36.
now even par.
All right. Well, hey, what's going on today, guys? What's going on at the creek? You got anything happening?
I have no idea.
Oh, that's.
No.
Are you shell shocked right now?
Yeah, no kidding. It's been, once again, it's been a great start to the season. It's been really overall some really pretty good weather. And people have been excited about getting out and playing some golf after a long winter. So, yeah, we've already started corporate events. The leagues have been active. And it's going to be a good weekend, I think, for Memorial Day. It looks like the weather's supposed to kind of hang in there, I think, for at least for most of the weekend. And a little breezy.
Yep.
So hopefully it'll be a good one.
You had to have had a big week over there at Edgewood.
Yeah, we have 18 holes open, and today,
Let's go.
Today we're starting carts, so we're hopefully back to whatever normal is.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's a good day.
And so, and as far as any abbreviations on any of the holes,
Number 7,
Okay.
we're playing as a par 3.
Perfect.
So your score automatically gets lower, which is great.
I love it. Yeah, and Osgood right now, it's just all systems go. So, thank you again, superintendents. Golf courses are great, and people are loving it. So, we got kind of a special show today, don't we?
It feels special.
Yeah, something. When I walked in today, it felt super special. We got a special guest today.
I think we do. Go ahead. You rock this.
What? No.
He doesn't know what's going on, Matt. You're the one who knows what's going on.
Don't you have the
I heard it. I
show
heard,
notes?
I heard that it may be someone's birthday today. And it's not just an ordinary birthday. It's a special
I thought a
birthday.
special day was It's Friday.
It
That's
is
a special day.
It is.
Okay.
That's truly what's special. However, we also do have Mr. Greg McCullough
Are we
celebrating a very special birthday today.
When you get to be as old as I am, Matt, every birthday is special.
So are we disclosing what number birthday this is?
We can. That's fine. I have no problem with it.
Okay, good. Yeah, own it, right?
60.
Jeez.
I am 60 years old today.
60 big ones. That is awesome.
Well, they weren't all big, Matt.
I didn't realize you were that young.
Oh, I love it. Keep it up. I love it. I love it.
This is going to turn into a roast now.
That's okay. I like it.
60 years. You know, that is terrific.
Are
That
we-
is terrific.
Are we going to recap what's all happened in 60 years today?
I think we do. I think this is probably one of those where we break out a new segment today. Get to know your golf pro. And I think we need to know a little bit more about.
Did you pre-record this
Greg
with like
McCullough.
Russ Nelson or
No.
Corey
no.
Hurlickson or?
No.
All right, let's go.
So, Greg, tell us a little bit, like, where are you from? How did you get interested in the game of golf?
I didn't. Where am I from? I was born in Rochester, Minnesota.
Rochester, Minnesota.
Yes. Lived there till I was 13. Then we moved to Fargo, North Dakota. I went to Agassiz for 1 year. And then we moved to the great metropolis, Hope, North Dakota. I went to high school in Hope, North Dakota.
See, I'm already learning things. I didn't know you had actually moved to Fargo for a short term. I
Yes.
knew you were born in Rochester, and then I knew
Yes.
Hope.
Yep.
And so then you graduated from Hope High School, played golf there.
GED. No, I do
Was
have
that
a-
at age 27?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you played golf at Hope. How did you kind of get introduced to the game? Like at what point was it that when you went to Hope or was it
No,
before then?
well, when I was in Rochester, we as young kids at that time, we had to get out of the house. We weren't allowed to sit in the house. And there was a brand new middle school junior high that got built right across the street that had like 37 softball fields on it. So my parents had clubs. My dad played in a league, IBM league. My mom never really played, I don't think. But our parents would say, get out of the house. And, we can't play baseball 24 hours a day. So I just one day grabbed clubs and started beating around the softball complex. That's kind of how I got going. I played a little bit in Rochester, Soldiers Field, where later in life, David Richardson was the head pro there for a while. And then in Fargo, when we moved to Fargo, I didn't play at all. But when we moved to Hope, again, same thing. They have at that time they had a 9-hole sand green golf course, and it was the place you sent your kids. It was 3 miles away, but I mean, it came to be where I just went there and just did roundabouts all day long. That's kind of how I got into it.
What was it? What was it like playing on sand greens? I imagine most people that are listening, and I know for myself, I've never played sand greens before, but
Well,
You've
I think everybody should do it one time just
Yeah.
to experience it. In fact, Jeff Kolpak and I and a couple other guys are going to do a little sand green tour here in a couple weeks, actually.
so they do have some sand
They have
greens in North
two
Dakota
or
still.
3 left. Yep, we're going there to do a little 1-day deal for Jeff and the forum and us.
Cool.
And you know, I didn't really know a lot different than that. I mean, I'd played a little golf, so I mean, I mean, as a kid, you just grow up and you do it, right? You just go do it. And then as I started to get a little bit older, probably when I was a junior in high school, there's courses that are within 30 miles of us that have grass green courses. So we started driving there, and that's kind of went to school at University of North Dakota, played golf there for 6, 7, 8 years. And
So
Do you have a COVID year or 6, 7, 8 years?
sure, we'll call it a COVID year.
so for everybody listening, you want to pay attention on this next one because it could be like a Jeopardy question one time. But rumor has it, I believe you may have been a sand greens champion. Is that true?
Correct.
And you may have been a green grass champion. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, I thought that was.
High school, just sand.
Okay, just
Yep.
saying. Did
So-
you play in a greens grass championship, or did all?
No.
Okay,
We
so
were
the whole
sand
time-
green. We were sand greens the whole time I was in high school.
Okay, you were.
Yep.
Well, let's make it up anyway. So Greg was a sand green champion and a green grass champion.
So when you're putting on sand greens,
Yes.
it always feels like I'm cheating, and I probably am. But like you actually,
Yeah.
you smooth it out,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So what is the correct procedure when you're on sand greens? Like, obviously, I mean, there's ball marks of some kind, but what's the correct practice? And then procedurally, how do you go through
I mean,
putting?
you're basically trying to. There's a metal T-bar that's heavier
Mhm.
that you push the sand out of the way so it's smoothed out, and then you putt from there,
Okay.
and then until you hole it, right? I mean, it's probably continuous putting. So if you have a group of 4 people on a sand green, and there's 4 of you, and you all 4 do it, so there's quite an array of trigonometry stuff going on there. And then when you're done, they have a little 2x4 with nails on it, and you just take it and you spin it around the green until it's back to the way it was before, and then the next group comes.
Wow. Does that take like a lot of time?
It takes a little bit. It is a little more time consuming, but it's just like, other golf. You start to get used to timing, and hopefully somebody in your group is helping you when you're done. And it does take a little bit more time, but it's not terrible.
And as far as the sand's concerned, that's I mean, it's like almost like bunker sand, or is it like hardened sand?
Well, one of the reasons that sand greens have gone away is because they used to put oil in
Yeah.
the sand. So obviously, if you just have sand in the middle of North Dakota and you're putting it out there, it's all going to blow away. So they mix the sand with some oil, and the EPA obviously doesn't think kindly to that. So that's kind of why the sand green part of it is going out of the way. There are different, just like golf, right? I mean, you have greens that are stimp at 5 and greens that stimp at 15. There
Really?
is different textures and pace, and you can kind of create whatever you think you need to do there.
I got to think that there's someone out there that wants to bring sand greens back to a certain degree, and almost like a hipster type movement where you're mixing it with like vegetable oil rather than,
Yep.
like
Yep. Destination course with sand greens, you think?
honestly, could be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, and the greens are super small. So I mean, one of the interesting for me is, a sand green is like you at Moorhead Country Club, old number 12, which is now 11,
Yep.
right? That
Yep.
green is pretty small.
Very.
That would be a little bigger sand green. It's probably, I would say, more than half of that, but not a lot more than half of that. So the greens are pretty small. And the way you really play sand greens is the ball is always running into the sand. It's never up in the air. So you're always kind of trying to play a little pool to get the ball to bounce certain ways and get it to finish to where you want it to finish.
Interesting.
I wonder like where the origination of like sand greens developed. And I would imagine it has probably something to do with maybe either lack of irrigation,
100%.
equipment,
Right.
whatever. But because you would think that, you could just create like a black push-up green, basically just growing grass on black dirt. And so as long as you have water and something that can mow the grass reasonably close, I mean, because like sand, is that quite slow? I mean, what would you equate that like to a stimp reading like today? Like, and for those that don't know, like a stimp reading, it's just a measurement tool to kind of determine like the green speed. So what would sand be like?
I would
typically?
say, it varied a little bit, and that's part of the technique about how you push the sand away. You can push more sand away and it's faster. You can push less sand away and it's slower. You could probably get it to, I mean, I think I played sand greens where it was probably 6
Oh,
or 7,
okay.
but a lot of times probably 3, 4, 5, something like that.
And wouldn't you say like on an average, let's say around our public golf courses, maybe a 9-ish or maybe give or
8 to
take a little
9.
bit, 8 to 9. Yep,
Yeah, I
would
would
probably
think
be an
so.
average. So 6 to 7.
Yeah, slow. I
Quite
mean,
a bit
on
slower,
a
but
really fast sand green
correct.
That's
versus, and again, right? You think, well, sand is sand, but I mean, you have different textures and different, some are harder, some are softer. Yeah, I think if you've never done it, you should try to do it if you're a golf nut.
so. Where's our closest sand
I
greens?
think Drake.
Drake
Trying
has a golf course.
trying to think. It's south of Devil's Lake. They have 2. We're gonna play both.
Okay,
Yeah, they have 9 holes,
cool.
and the reason it came about is because of irrigation. We never had irrigation in Hope. I never knew anything about any kind of I mean, when I went from sand greens and started playing grass greens a lot, that was like, whoa, I don't have a clue here what's going on. But it was cool. It was, it's something at 60 today I can talk about and go, yeah, I played sand greens in high school.
That's awesome.
And then, so as you how did you then, so you end up playing golf at Hope, won both sand greens and green grass. And then we moved on to UND, had a historic career there.
Well, it wasn't historic, but I had it. I had it. I was fortunate to play with some very good players there, and we had conference championship, and I was second team all conference, and yeah.
Very cool. And then how did you get interested as far as making the move as a career of golf? Like when did you first start working at a golf course? And then what kind of ever got you thinking, yep, this is what I want to do the rest of my life?
Never really happened that way. Steve Widener was the professional at Fargo Country Club, was also the coach at NDSU. And one of my buddies said, Fargo's got an assistant's job open. And it was a guy that I played with, outside of high school, older than I was, and he was thinking about getting in the business. So I said, well, can I just come with and I'll just putt because I love Fargo Country Club. And I was almost graduating or trying to graduate, freaking out, I was having an accounting degree, trying to just get through school, had not a clue what I wanted to do. 0. And my buddy interviewed, they got done and we came out and Steve goes, well, what are you doing? I said, I don't have a clue, Steve. He goes, well, have you ever thought about getting in the golf business? I said, no. He goes, well, would you like a job? Sure. I need a job, right? I mean, I'm 1 month away from graduating.
Oh, jeez.
Right. And that's how it started. And that was 1986.
Do you hold that against Steve at all? Why did you ever offer me a job?
My
I could
banker,
have been an accountant or something.
my banker probably does. No, it's, I didn't plan it, but it was something that, I mean, I love the game. Didn't know if I would like the business, but Fargo was an awesome place to work. The membership was incredible. I got to work at Fargo Country Club. I mean, for a kid from Hope, North Dakota to go work at Fargo Country Club was like, holy cow. Yeah, so worked there for 3 years and things are history.
That's pretty cool. And now you've been at Edgewood Golf Course for how many years?
This is my 24th year.
24th year. Wow. I suppose when you're that old, I suppose you eventually
You rack them up pretty quick.
you rack them up pretty quick. Now, and Greg, we're good at like poking fun at each other.
Yes.
And we're also good at
Love
poking
it.
fun at ourselves.
Yes.
Probably more so than each other. And so Greg, of course, is not going to boast about his career, but not only is Greg's a very good player.
Yeah.
And he continues to be a very good player, even though he's 60 years old. And but he's also been an amazing club professional, as far as what he's done at Edgewood Golf Course and how that continues to grow, and the loyalty, and you hear just so many good things as far as about Edgewood Golf Course. And so it's been fantastic. And so kudos to you there. So that is cool that 60 years and you've only got 15 to 20 more, you said?
Best case scenario, 25.
All right.
Well, happy birthday once
Thank
again.
you.
This is hopefully going to be an amazing day for you.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
sure
sure
it's
it
going to be a
will.
nice one. It's going to be a busy one at the golf course, and hopefully they've got some fun things planned for you at Edgewood to make it uncomfortable. But, speaking of club pros, we kind of moved into the PGA Championship this past week, which was really cool. To me, everybody's probably got their favorite major. I'm not going to say the PGA is my favorite because there's something about the Masters that's leading off that I really, really appreciate. But I really feel that the PGA Championship is really awesome. And not just because we're a club professional and our PGA association, kind of coordinates that with the PGA Tour. But also I think it's one of the better fields, if not the best field in all the majors and probably any tournament when you look at it overall. I mean, obviously the Masters is a little bit limited. Even the Open and the British, of course, you have a qualifying, and so that's even a little bit limited. But PGA, it's just a great field, and it's always kind of been looked at, I think, as the fourth of the majors, only because it was probably also the fourth of the lineup forever. So by the time you got done with Augusta and then the U.S. Open and the British Open, it's kind of like you're in August now, and everybody's probably tired of the majors.
Yeah, I think it kind of gets lost too, identity-wise, because U.S. Open is just that there's that marketing blitz that goes around that because it's like the U.S. Open, and then the Masters, of course, you got the Masters, and it changes venues all the time. So there's not, when you see it on TV, it's not always the same look all the time.
Sure.
But yeah, certainly as far as the field is concerned, it's a strong field.
Yeah. And then of course, so if we go back, we did our predictions. I just want to see how everybody
this is
did.
where this is going. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
So I think when we last met a couple weeks ago, we kind of threw out our predictions, and I think Chris, you had John Rahm.
I did. Yeah. Was that a solid pick or what? Where did he?
That was a very solid pick. Yeah, he finished tied for
plus
50th.
13?
Plus 7.
Plus 7.
50th.
Okay.
So
you should maybe keep picking him.
And Tom Hoagie, that was honestly, it's not like Tom couldn't win the PGA. He's an
That's
amazing
correct.
player. He has really moved himself up as far as in the ladder board, as far as his standing on the PGA Tour. So that was a solid pick as well. And Tom made the cut, which is great. Did not play as probably great over the weekend, but that was a tough golf course. Finished tied for 58th, 10th, 10 over par overall. So a solid pick. And then I kind of went for a dark horse and went for Scotty Scheffler. It's a kind of a dark horse there.
You're so brave, Matt.
I know, it was out on a limb. And Scotty didn't do too bad. Second place, 7 under par. So
you know what they call second place, Matt?
That's first loser.
First loser.
And but one of the big highlights of the week, of course, was Brooks Koepka once again.
Yep.
Because we always bring back that whatever that other tour is called. And so of course there was a lot of talk about that. And Brooks once again knocks his third PGA championship. 3 of them he's won now.
Yeah.
5 majors altogether.
When he did that, I mean, he's just like cold-blooded killer out there. And love him or hate him, when you're watching him surgically move about that golf course, I mean, that was impressive. You can't help but just think yeah, he just flat out outplayed everybody, and there was not a shred of doubt that he was the best player that week. So yeah, he just absolutely annihilated the field.
I know it. And I'm not going to be negative as far as the Live Tour. I'm just not going to be a fan.
Oh, you said it.
Yep, I know it.
You said the word.
I know I shouldn't, but I'm not going to be down on it, but I'm just not going to be a fan. But I do like Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was cheering for him. I'd like to have had Scheffler or anybody else, but you know what? That was pretty cool. And it was pretty impressive the way he just dismantled that golf course.
Well, and super impressive in the fact that, I mean, I don't know if his injury has been all that well documented. He's, kind of kept that pretty close to the vest, but just hearing everybody talk about what he's been able to do. I mean, the reason he left is because he didn't know if he was going to be able to play again or to the level that he wanted to play. And to see where he's at now, that's super impressive. The other thing, I don't know if you guys caught this with Brooks, is that he said in a press conference that he found something that happened in the Masters that, like in the final round. Did you hear about this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so he said in the final round there was something that he did, and it sounds like it's a mental thing or like a strategic thing that he will vow never to ever do again. And he has been kind of poked and prodded by the media to say like, "Hey, what is it?" And he says, I'm not telling you what it is." Well, whatever it is, I think it's working. But do you guys have any insight? Have you?
I did hear about it. They asked him, and he did say that. He goes, he goes, I guarantee you, I will not do that again, and I
Yeah.
guarantee you that I want to play good on Sunday, and he did. There's a lot of speculation. We don't really know, but I think at the Masters, the pace of the play on Sunday really bothered him. He's a very fast player.
Did you see
He's
it?
a very fast player, and on Sunday at the PGA, it was obviously the pace of play was quicker. Wasn't lightning. It was quicker. But did you notice his?
They had to have an
pa-
extra camera off to the side because in that final round, he
Yeah.
was hitting the golf ball almost like 5 seconds after Victor was.
Yep.
I mean, they were struggling to catch his shots
Yep.
at times.
Yeah.
So
So I think
he might have hit it right
well,
there.
and that's the speculation that his he figured out he still can play fast when he gets over the ball, aka Tom Hoagie. I think that's part of the reason that we don't get to see Tom quite as much because there's no gap there. When the ball's in the air and ball lands, Tom hits it. I think Brooks is the same way. He needs to play fast, which is great, but his demeanor after he hit the shot to the next shot, in my opinion, slowed down significantly.
Okay.
Again, it's all speculation.
That's an interesting take. I hadn't heard that. That's a
Yeah.
super good take on that.
Right. Well, then another thing that, as far as that was kind of headlines this week is as part of the PGA championship, of course, we just mentioned, that our association, the PGA of America is, runs that event. We have every section, there's 41 sections as far as the nation, of course, for the PGA of America. And our section, like Minnesota, as well as all the other 41, have their own championship every year. And that entitles X number of people to go to our national club professional championship. And that now is up to 20 people are able from that national championship to qualify for the PGA championship and play in this major, which has drawn some criticism from some because, they're thinking that takes up spots from tour players. But once again, this is a great opportunity for those club professionals to be able to make it to that type of an event, which has been great. And Michael Block, who I think is out in California, I think is it Arroyo?
Yep.
Arroyo Trabuco, maybe golf club in California. Anyway, 46-year-old. He's a good player, as well as anybody's going to qualify for this. They're going to be good players.
Well, he was the PGA Club Professionals Player of the Year last year, correct?
Yes.
Correct there, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not his first rodeo. I think he's appeared, they said, in 24 tour events so far, and I think he had made already like 4 cuts in that. So he's a solid player, and this is, I think he
collectively are we like all three of us trying to just play in 24 total events in the last maybe 2 years? I mean, that's a lot of events, and those are tour events.
Yeah.
So he's played in a decent. That's a veteran player.
Yeah, so he's made 4 cuts in these 24 events. This is the first time he'd ever made a cut in a major. And he had just an amazing week. I mean, he ends up.
He was living his best life.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
He shoots even par through the first 2 rounds, makes the cut, which is a huge deal because usually out of those club professionals, we probably don't see too often that many, if any, probably potentially make the cut for that.
Yep.
And so he has a fantastic 3rd day finish as far as even par once again. So he's even. He's like, at that time, I think like 6 shots ahead of someone like John Rahm, and just like going, holy moly, this is amazing, and ends up finishing 1 over par, which I think ended up being tied for 15th.
Yes.
So just, an amazing experience. And of course, just then, the media world, it was just the interviews. And I think he was on Good Morning America, CNN. I mean, he was all over the place, Golf Channel, of course. But that was really cool because here's a guy. I remember listening to one of the interviews and they were talking, he goes, this might've been after round 3, I think. And they said, they were interviewing John Rahm, I think post round. And so they were talking about this Michael
You
Block.
just got digging in with this John Rahm pick right now.
Yeah.
How come he always looks at you, Chris, after he says
yes,
it?
yes. And they were saying, this is a guy that hits like 1 bucket of balls per week, at the very most. And I think John Rahm goes and he's Leading by how many?
That's pretty good.
And so just a great week. It was really cool. I mean, they highlighted a lot as far as our profession, and typically, as far as if you're a club professional, those roles can vary a lot.
Absolutely.
Michael Block's role is a little different than the three of us. He does, I think, a lot of teaching, and obviously he is a player, so he's getting a chance. Even though he's hitting one bucket of balls a week, I have a feeling he's still playing quite a bit.
He's
of
playing golf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a good player.
absolutely.
You don't become player of the year in the association without playing a little bit of golf. And so everybody's role is a little bit different. But not to diminish that, he's not a PGA Tour player, so that's not his career.
He's kind of, if I had to pick, I mean, he's kind of living in the gray, right? He's I don't okay. What he did was absolutely amazing. And I also want to say that as far as the PGA Championship, I mean, how many times did you guys now, because Michael Block was playing and he was doing so well, how many people came into the shop and were like, "Man, what do you think about that?" The great part about that is it does shed more light on what PGA club professionals are doing, and that makes me really proud, and so I was really excited to see everything that came along with that, because we don't do a very good job of, like, pumping a pumping ourselves up, and communicating to everybody what a PGA professional does. So, with that, it allows for conversations to exist, and the PGA Championship is such a great championship. And so, it was a fun week, I think, for all of us to really kind of relish in everything that we do. So, the one thing with Michael Block, all right, because I was all in, right? The block part, I was all in, and especially after he dunks one. I mean, okay, that was just
Dunks one is in a hole in one.
hole in one. Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have got more of a media frenzy than ever,
Hole
right?
15, final round.
Yes, I mean, it was crazy, but the other part, he's in the gray, right? Because you said he's a teaching professional.
Well, I think his classification, supposedly what I read was head professional, but I have a feeling, he alluded in a couple of
Yeah.
interviews as far as, missing guys on the tee, he's teaching and da da da. So I feel he does a lot of teaching, a lot of playing.
But I mean, I think he said in an interview that and I don't want to like dispel rumors. I don't want to disperse rumors here, but he teaches like 4 times a week. He's kind of in that part of his career, I think, where he's just kind of like teaching who he wants to teach with. And, like he's not doing a whole lot. Most of our teaching professionals that we know are doing like 5 or 6 lessons a day, and just grinding out there. And obviously to be able to be the player of the year in the National PGA Association, I mean, that's like you got to play a lot of golf and you got to be prepping for I mean, he's playing some high level golf along with the fact that he's played in so many tour events. I mean, my gosh, that that's a it's a low level tour player in my opinion is what caliber of play he is at. Would you guys not agree? I mean, that's a lot of golf to be able to do all that.
That is, yeah. I mean, like I said, you've got to be doing some practice and you've got to be doing some playing to have at that level. I don't think anybody's just that gifted that, you can't play golf and then just go out and fire those type of scores.
Right.
It's not happening. So
And then as far as like takeaways from the golf course, you guys like the golf course?
I honestly, I did not see a whole lot of it this
Oh,
past
okay.
weekend. I wish I could have. So I did not get a chance to watch hardly any of the coverage, which is very unusual because of all the events. Like I said, that's the one that I probably tune in the most. But we just had a lot of stuff going on this past
Golf
weekend. So
golf course was super intriguing, I thought. And just the way that it's kind of been reworked. And I was really excited to see like hole 14, how that was. I always love those risk reward holes where they've got, potentially a drivable par forward makes, everybody kind of guess at what. And the reworked holes were, in my opinion, welcomed, and I thought they played very, very. They were spectator friendly. They invoked a lot of like I said, risk reward, and that's what makes, in my opinion, a really fun home stretch, of holes. And there's a lot of like convergence where you see players coming in, playing a par 3, going to par 4. There's like crossroads going on. So as far as the spectator quality, it had to have been fantastic. The rough was crazy. They were talking about how they used like 3 different types of grasses, and when spectators and players were walking through it, they likened it to snow as they were walking through. I mean, it was absolutely gnarly if you're off the fairway. Not to mention the fairways were running like a 9. So, which leads me to an interesting stat. The fact that the fairways were running so firm, it wasn't the fact that the fairways were so narrow. They were narrow in some spots, but the fact is most guys were able to hit the fairway. They weren't able to keep it in the fairway. So the strokes gained driving stat was if you are slightly offline and you're in the rough, your strokes gained driving went down only minuscule amounts if you were considerably offline compared to if you were just offline. So the premium for hitting the fairways in this major championship was higher than virtually any major championship that they've played, just because of the speeds of the fairways and how nasty the rough was. It was really, really interesting to see. And Brooks was just phew. And also, when you think about Michael Block and his success, very straight. He was hitting the ball very, very straight. Not to mention, he doesn't hit it very far. Now, Oak Hill was a really long golf course, but he was able to keep it in the fairway most times. So, and if he's spinning the ball a little bit more, he doesn't have that 170, 180 mile an hour ball speed, which has the propensity to carry into the rough. I mean, I think the fact that Michael Block hit it a little bit shorter and was able to keep it into the fairway, I think that played to his advantage considerably.
I think the scores got where they got, and they were not low by any means.
No.
But I think they would have been considerably higher if they wouldn't have gotten the rain. Just for exactly what you
absolutely.
just said, because the longer you were, you could hit the fairway, but chances are the ball wasn't necessarily going to stay in the fairway, and I think that helped all the players, just because the ball wouldn't run into the rough.
Well, Michael Block kind of alluded to that fact as far as length in one of his many interviews that he had this week. He was with it was I think his Rigger Magoo podcast with Bob Menery, and I know myself, I probably said a few things I wish I had back, and he may have in this particular podcast because they were talking to him a little bit about it, and they were asking, like what's the difference between his game and Rory McIlroy, for instance. And he had mentioned that he says, and quote, he's a lot longer than I am. Oh my G, what I would shoot from where Rory hits it, it would be stupid. I think I'd be one of the best players in the world, hands down, which kind of raised some eyebrows throughout the social media world, got a lot of responses. If I was as big and strong as LeBron and could shoot like Steph Curry, I'd be an NBA All-Star. It's like, and I'm not, like I said, he had a lot of interviews. I'm sure he was tired. Probably maybe didn't think that one through quite right, but it kind of almost sounded too like you're throwing a lot of people under the bus, including Rory McIlroy. It's like, okay, so he drives it long, but he must be just like chopped liver from that point on in. And it's like that is an acquired skill that's gained over time, and it's a very important skill. So it's not just something that's like, well, if I could just drive it that long, then I would be a tour player, because that rich bravado didn't age very well, as he had a sponsor exemption into the Charles Schwab at Colonial Golf Club this week, and his opening round he shot 81.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure if he would have hit it if where Rory hits it, if it was still been
Yeah.
leading that tournament. But you know what? Like I said, he had a lot of interviews that week. It was probably something he wished he kind of had back, but it was kind of a statement that maybe probably.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he said, I think he even went to the extent of saying how his short game is world class, and that he would be one of the top players in the world. And I don't know, he might still be riding a little high on the PGA Championship, but
We talk about this a lot, right? God doesn't give you everything, right? I mean, and again, it's easy for him to say that, and for 1 week, he might not be wrong. But, generally speaking, in golf, when you're that player, you hit it a certain way, and the rest of your game kind of goes around what you hit it. If he hit it 50 yards farther, the rest of his game would be different.
agreed.
I mean, that's just the way it is. So, he had an awesome week. It was fun to watch. He had 0 chance this week. I was on with a couple other people earlier in the week, and they said, "What is he gonna do?" And I said, he is not good. He can't be good this week. There's just no way. And partially because you get the light shine on you,
Yeah.
which, that's hard because everybody's going to go and start looking
I
for
think-
everything.
And I think even when you're looking at PGA champions, when you're looking at major champions, a lot of times that's not uncommon after that week. I mean, I can't imagine how taxing that is with all the media that's going to
Well-
want a piece of you and all the obligations you're going to
Exactly.
have.
Yeah.
And so it's going to take away from a lot of that time that you're going to have for both rest and preparation for the next event. So you go in there. So I don't think it's totally uncommon that someone maybe doesn't play as well
Well,
right
you
after
can't.
winning a tournament.
So where this week in Dallas?
Mhm.
Where can he go this week and be incognito?
Well, then, yeah,
Nowhere.
there's
I
nowhere.
don't care if it's a drive-through at McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or
Yeah.
at the golf course or at the hotel. And again, he's getting pulled a lot of different ways.
Right.
So, but needless to say, fun week.
Phenomenal.
Super fun week. of
How about
golf.
the up and down on 18? That was actually better than, the hole in one is the hole in one. That up and down on 18,
Explain
that
the-
was world class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
explain the ramifications of that.
Sure. He said he didn't know the ramifications.
We can totally dissect all of that and go into the speculations of like,
Yeah.
oh, did it go in, Rory? Did it go in? Oh my, all that type of stuff. But I would agree that the up and down was very very impressive.
Yeah, it was like hit it left of the green in the long rough, got a little break with the lie, but short-sighted himself. And I said this earlier, go stand in your grass, go hit the ball onto your driveway, and you got to stop it on the driveway. Now, after you stop it on the driveway, you got to make a 12-footer. And making that 12-footer meant not only do we see him this week, a year from now we're going to see him because that top 15 qualified him for the next year's PGA. Probably would have made it. You don't know what life is going to bring you, but probably would have made it anyway. But this is a guaranteed deal. Now we get to see him next year. And if you look at the commercials this week from the PGA Tour, it's Michael Block. It's not Jordan Spieth. It's not defending champions. It's Michael Block, which is everything about this week has been good for golf. And we're going to get the next 2 weeks, probably the next 3 weeks. It's going to be golf because, the NBA is the NBA, the NHL is the NHL, but golf is like on it. U.S. Open, men's U.S. Open, ladies U.S. Open. Matt, how was the week? Who made it this week from our area to qualify for the ladies U.S. Open?
Yeah, our local Oxbow native, Amy Olson, ended up qualifying for the U.S. Open this week, I think at approximately 6 months pregnant.
Yes.
And so that's played, another month here down the line? So
July, I think.
July, so she'll probably be at
Yep.
least 7 months pregnant playing in the U.S. Open. And so that'll be kind of fun. And I'm sure that'll be an interesting story there as well. Not the first time we've probably seen a player out there playing kind of later in their pregnancy, but unique by no means. And so that'll be kind of fun to see how she plays out there. Hopefully that's really good. And then, of course, we have the Charles Schwab Cup going on, as I mentioned earlier, kind of relatively in the backyard of Tom Hoagie. And Tom's playing in that one, fired 4 under 66 in day one. I think he was like tied for third, maybe.
There we go.
So yeah, not to breaking news here, but yeah, Golf Digest that they had that as a leading story on Instagram. They're going to be kind of digging into the life of Amy Olson, I think, because of just the fact that she is playing at the U.S. Open and it will be 6 months pregnant. So I don't know if there's records of the people that have played under those conditions, but it is going to be a really interesting story to follow and to watch. So
And a week
Wow.
from Monday, we have the longest day of golf, the U.S. Open final qualifiers. We have 2 local peoples, Zach Sklebar, Josh Persons will be in Maryland trying to qualify for that, and then we have the U.S. Open. So we do have a little good stretch here of golf where let's keep it going. And again, like you said, Sunday at the golf shop was amazing. How about Monday? No matter who it was, walk in the shop and go, did you see what happened? Right. So the discussions that are happening about, I agree with you in our business. How does he do that? Those are all good things and it's all good for golf.
it is.
We had yesterday was also kind of a special day because Tom not only fired 66, but it was also Tom's birthday yesterday.
Yep.
Wow.
He's not 60. but
No.
no one's 60, but
You're going to be able to shoot your age pretty soon, Mac.
Well, and it's funny you say that because as golfers, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I always the players that we've been around that have shot their age is that's a goal, hole in ones, double eagles, and when you get older than dirt, you start thinking about shooting your age. Okay, so I'm thinking 60. I got a long time here before I'm going to be old enough to do it, and will I still be around, or will I still be able to play?
Yes, you will.
It's like I mean, that's a people who have done that. That's incredible. We know people that have done it thousands of times, which
Right.
is actually mind-boggling to me. But
I'm
yeah,
surprised you didn't do it at 59.
well, I have. I just didn't tell anybody.
Sure.
You need to start playing El Zagle more.
I tried. It didn't work.
Hey, par 33 out at Osgood. Maybe we get you around a couple of times. You could do it.
Ooh.
You
Ooh.
you could do it.
I'd have to shoot 6 under.
You
Yes.
can do it.
You
I
could
don't
do
know
it.
if I can shoot 6 under.
Absolutely, you
I
could.
don't
We
know.
should document this, Tori.
I don't
We
know
could
if I can
totally do
shoot
this.
6 under.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
All right.
You better do a shout out to Fargo Golf.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't done so already, please head over to fargogolf.net and you can see everything that's going on the 5 public golf courses that we have. And if you haven't done so already, you can also get your passes online too. So, season pass sales we're still selling a fair amount of season passes too. Also, update on physical passes. We do have actual physical passes for people to pick up. So, if you want to have that card to be able to check in, and so we can scan it right at the front counter, go ahead and pick those up at any of the 5 public golf courses here in Fargo, and we'd be happy to hook you up with your season pass. So, and then also book your tee times 3 days in advance because we are booking fast now that the weather is awesome. So, all right, what else do we got? Show notes, Cookie. What do you got? Are we going to document Tori's route to her championship? I mean, women's. Is she playing league out at Edgewood? Is that what?
she's going to start to play league.
Okay.
She had her first practice session at Edgewood that has funny stories involved in it.
So just to give background here, Tori is our producer for Muni Misfits. She's our marketing. What's the official title here with Fargo Parks? The
Guru.
marketing guru. I love that.
I wish. My official title is Marketing and Communications Specialist.
And future professional golfer,
Future,
aspiring.
yes.
Okay. And now you've picked up golf. You've played a little bit before, right?
Well, I grew up on a golf course.
Okay.
So we played when I was little.
I did not know that. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
You guys live in a bunker?
No. It was even
Where's
a,
the rim shot?
It was even a private course.
Wow. So you've made the transition from private to public.
I
Okay.
have. So we played growing up quite a bit, but once I got to high school and middle school even, I just wanted to play volleyball and basketball and not hang out with my family on the golf course. So
Sure.
I took probably 10 years off,
Okay.
12 years.
And now you've found out how cool golf is, right? And you've been working with us 3 cool kittens and cats, right? Or whatever they say. And now you want to get back into golf, and you decided Edgewood's the place for you.
Well, I mean, I've probably been golfing fairly often for like the last 3 years.
Okay.
I did the ladies beginner lessons with Lisa.
Yep.
Right. When Lisa was at Osgood, they were a little too beginner for
Okay.
me, but it was still fun.
All right.
I think they thought I was like hustling a little bit.
Oh, geez.
But it was fun. No, so and team marketing, we're gonna do ladies' night at Edgewood. We just forgot this week, I guess.
So what we're gonna do, I think this is a good ongoing little segment of the show where we're gonna
Yes.
keep checking in with Tori.
Tori's Tales.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did go to the driving range on Monday at Edgewood. A little nervous. I think it's always intimidating being a solo female, whether you're in the practice facilities or out on the course. So I got my confidence, shoulders back, went in, and I paid for a medium bucket of balls. Paid for a medium, $8. The balls did not stop coming.
Apparently, we have free balls at
which
Edgewood.
is actually an intrusive thought I've had that's going to happen, and it just came and overflowed. The balls overflowed, and they started going everywhere.
The universe is telling you something.
Yes.
Practice, practice,
Right,
practice.
So
Exactly.
some nice gentleman, if that is you, if you're listening right now and you were at Edgewood, he came and helped me. He was like, "What's going on?" I was
Dear
like,
Anonymous.
I was like, "It won't stop," and we were like frantically like trying to put another bucket under there. So I got 2 large buckets for the price of 1, which is a deal, and I hit every single one.
Wow.
and I have
And how are your
blisters.
hands?
I have blisters all over my left hand.
Okay.
So needed grip adjustment apparently. I wasn't wearing a glove though, which is kind of on me.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend, especially people that are just starting out. And if you're getting into practicing, which kudos to you, way to go, getting after it. But yeah, I would totally recommend throwing a glove on immediately to avoid that right there.
And maybe your first time out in the year, don't hit 210 golf
Yeah.
balls. Maybe.
At full speed.
Yes.
Right.
Full speed, every single one with my driver.
So hold up. So two medium buckets, which we can say is 120 golf balls.
Well, it ended up being
Too
too
large.
large.
It just kept going. It didn't stop.
Okay, so
Yeah.
115 plus 115, 230, math in public. You hit 230 golf balls at full speed driver. Did you hit any other clubs, just driver?
So I probably hit 10 with my 6-iron and
Sure.
maybe 10 with my 9-iron, but I was doing bad with those, so I
Yeah.
went back to my
Yeah.
driver because it was more fun. Because I can hit my driver really well. I'm not so good with the irons.
Okay.
PGA and LPGA tour players do not hit 200 drivers in one session.
No.
I felt like ill the next day. But it was fun. I was driving really well. I was slicing a lot though, so got to figure that out. But
Okay. So you feel ready to go for the debut.
just for driving, I didn't touch another
Okay.
club.
So what's the game? What's the game that they play? What are they
Ooh,
playing?
I don't know what they're playing next
Okay.
week. They change it each week.
All right.
So
we'll
what do
have
we
to
do? Do we just
call
show
a
up?
shop. Call a shop.
Call a shop.
Call a pro shop. 701-232-2824.
Kylie needs a set of clubs. We can't
We c-
share, right? That's frowned upon.
We can get her a set of clubs to use.
Are we allowed to share? That's bad, right?
We don't encourage that. It just slows stuff down. So
That's what I thought.
we can get her. We have rental sets. We can get her.
Okay, she's like 6'2".
I understand. I
Sounds like you could just give her your irons. You just carry that driver
That's
over your
true.
shoulder.
That's true. Yeah, I gotta get back out there.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to keep documenting. This might be one of my favorite segments right here. So this is good. So, all right.
Maybe get Tori's tips.
Tori's tips. Yep.
For his tips, wear a glove
That's
first time out.
And
numero
don't hit
uno.
210 golf balls.
Don't hit 210 golf balls. Just give them to the guy next to you. Take an L.
After that experience, I think I would have ran right down to Hankinson, hoping I had the same luck there.
Okay,
Where
but
the coins just kept pouring on out.
It's a little mortifying when the balls are flying everywhere, though, and they're like bouncing off the sidewalk and everyone's looking at you. We survived, though.
all right. Well, what else do we got today, guys? You have
Coins
anything?
probably don't come out of the slot machines anymore, do they?
I don't think so.
I
It's
haven't
all
been
like
there in many, many years. So
nope,
like
they don't.
paper.
It still
and-
makes the noise.
that's not as much fun, though, is it?
I don't think so.
Man, having those quarters just fall.
Yeah.
Or pennies in my case.
No clacking on the bottom.
I think that's a wrap.
That's all we got. What do we got for? I mean, time wise, we had to have gone. That's a.
That was a long one. We're at
You sleeping
That's
over
what
there?
That's what our audience is saying.
Yeah. Yeah, wrap it
Uh,
up, guys.
49 minutes.
Oh, that's all right.
That's
That's
not
good.
terrible
Yeah, we
for
did
us.
all right.
That's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
terrible for
that's
us.
good.
What's-
So
what's considered slow play on a podcast?
no kidding. Well, some of these
30.
30?
You think that's tight? Is where 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Is that where we want to be? Maybe get some lists.
45.
45.
Oh, well, see,
Okay.
there we go.
Nice.
Well, then we're not even close. We haven't even had the warning yet.
Right. Exactly. That
She hasn't
red
even
light
been.
has
I mean, she has been kind of waving, going.
sure. Quit it. But yeah, I've listened to some pods that are like you got Rogan's pod that's like 3 hours and stuff.
Well, we can do that.
Yeah.
My favorite podcast is like 4-hour episodes.
Oh, well.
Whoa.
Okay, so we
Okay.
have 3 hours and 15 minutes left. We've just played the first 2 holes. We got 16 holes left.
Oh man, we got to save some content for next week.
So,
So
Greg, tell me about first grade.
All right. Well, hey, if you enjoyed the content today, we greatly appreciate it. Go ahead, hit subscribe, follow us on Facebook. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Spotify. And this is Muni Misfits. My name's Chris. We got Greg. We got Matt. And we collectively are the Muni Misfits. We will see you next week.
Time. Happy birthday, Greg.
Thank you.